Welcome to How to Garden. Today I want to talk a little bit about Florida gardening. So let's go for a little walk. We'll talk about some of the things that you need to know to be successful in gardening in Florida. Now, a lot of people believe that in Florida you can just garden year-round, and there is some validity to that. Kinda. See, what you guys are thinking about is that cold winter. That you can't garden in the winter. Well, Florida, we don't really have a winter. We have a summer. And our summer is a lot like your winter. I know, that seems kind of confusing. It's not the cold that's the enemy. It's the heat. Here's a good example right here. It's March. Look at this tomato plant. Yet, I have a new tomato planted right there. So what's going on there? Well, this is a cool season tomato for Florida standards, which means it's March and it's already dying. Now, a lot of things you need to know about Florida gardening is, one, we don't have soil. You got to bring in truckloads and truckloads of amendments every year if you're doing any type of traditional gardening. 2, if you really want to have success, you need to stop thinking market gardening and start thinking about what will actually grow here. This is longevity spinach. I have some of its counterparts too. These are tropical. I can grow tropicals, but I have to protect them from the cold in the winter, which is the other half of the equation. The things that do well here don't take a frost at all. So the random 3 or 4 years apart will get a freeze, and it will wipe everything out. See that little purple plant right there? That's Malabar spinach. That's a counterpart to the longevity spinach. I've also got another one called Shizu. Now, what looks like weeds in this bed, that's not weeds. It's vegetable. We also grow a lot of perennials. For instance, blackberries and raspberries that are the named varieties, not the stuff that actually just kind of grows on its own. Don't do well here. That's a pretty nice mulberry. So we grow things like mulberries. There's a mulberry for everything. There are hundreds and hundreds of types of mulberries. And we grow things like this. This is chaya. It's a leafy green. It's also known as Mexican tree spinach. However, you can't just eat the leaves. You have to know how to properly cook this one. Walk around a little more. Show you a couple other things. There's a cabbage. That's going to have to be harvested in the next few days. Didn't get as big as I'd like, but it didn't stay as cool as long as I'd like it to. We got hot early this year. Those are onions. The secret to growing onions in Florida is growing them in the winter or growing them in the shade. Just a few more things. Everything that you're seeing down there is stuff that's going to be heat tolerant up to a point. Interplanting with other things is usually a good idea. The bugs here are a serious issue. Crops like dragon fruit do very well. This one needs to be moved. I never meant for it to grow on the house. Aloe. A lot of people don't even realize this is something you can eat. I'll never go without aloe. Being in Florida, sunburns are a regular thing. And that is the solution. Fruit trees should be a mainstay in your garden here. All kinds of stuff, including peaches. There's a peach variety that grows in every part of Florida. Do your research. And I don't mean ask the guy at the counter at Walmart. I mean, do your own research. Go to the University of Florida, their website. Find the one that's right for you. Traditional fruit trees like plums take a really, really long time to mature here. They actually have 2 dormant periods, winter and summer. They will go dormant in the summer as a way of dealing with the heat. This little tree is 8 years old. This is the first time it's bloomed. They grow very slow, so put things like peaches, pears, apples in as soon as possible on a gardening site. Cassava grows very easy here, but it takes 9 to 18 months before it's ready to harvest, depending on variety. Not exactly fast. Citrus is a traditional crop here, but it's been questionable for almost 2 decades due to disease problems. What we have here is actually one of the wild citrus that grow in Florida that I brought into my garden so that I could have it here. I've got other citrus as well. Central Florida and South Florida, avocados do well. Unfortunately, this one is not fruiting yet. It is from seed, and it'll either produce its first time this year or maybe next year. Only time can tell you that one. Central and South Florida grow bananas. They don't have a season. They produce whenever they feel like it. Stick them anywhere you can fit them in. Get as many varieties as you can. There are varieties of squash and pumpkins that will grow right through the Florida heat. Most people like the Seminole pumpkin, and that's a pretty good one. Does very well. I like the Calabasa pumpkins that come out of the Bahamas. Those do really well. A lot less work. Seminole pumpkin does great in Central Florida and North Florida, and the Calabasa does great in Central Florida and South Florida. I guess it's going to be an off year on my lime tree because it didn't really bloom. It put out some, but not much. Still got some mustard greens growing in random places. This is a good way to deal with the root knot nematodes. My lone pear. It's set in fall. It might be time to pick it. Oh, not quite yet, but getting close. This is Bryce Garland's World's Best Mulberry. It's a Thai hybrid mulberry. This thing is mulberry craziness. They're everywhere. The birds are eating them. The kids are eating them. I'm eating them. Done made a cobbler. Got about a gallon of them saved up. Not the best tasting, but still fairly good. Definitely would recommend it. Elderberry does very well in all parts of Florida. It's American black elder. Grows easy from cutting. You should have at least 2, not from the same cuttings. They need a cross-pollinator. I don't get a lot of fruit on this. I don't have very many in my immediate area.